Nostalgia promises normalcy. When we look back, we do so with years' worth of context and understanding. We are familiar with the past, we are used to living with it, and that's something we find comfort in. We talk about the past a lot here on this channel, life before, and few things, at least in my lifetime, changed the world more than 9/11. In hindsight, the months, weeks, and days leading up to September 11th, 2001 have such a strange quality to them. We were coming off the millennium, there was a ton of optimism for the future, we were living it, we were living in the future, the internet, the information age, it was here. To this day, I can't see the Twin Towers without thinking of how life was before, and so today on the Videocast, I'd like to revisit the World Trade Center, specifically the mall at the World Trade Center, the shopping mall beneath the Twin Towers. That's another thing we talk about a lot, malls, also seen as a relic of life before. We'll be diving into some of the stores inside the mall at the World Trade Center, a little bit of history, nostalgia, and some pretty amazing footage shot before and after 9/11. Probably goes without saying, but this is some upsetting subject matter. We won't be showing anything too graphic, no footage of the attacks or anything, but I do like to give a heads up. Hi, hello, I'm your host Brian. Patreon.com/PixPortraits is how you can support us here. Tons of videos over there, digital copies of my book, The Nostalgia Economy. $5 a month helps keep all this going. We also have physical copies, t-shirts. Please consider supporting us if you can. Now, even though the mall at the World Trade Center opened in 1975, there is not a whole lot of footage or information available from that time. Really, we don't see much until the late 90s. Consulting our map here, this is from 2000, 2001, but it gives us a good idea of the layout of the mall. Buildings 1 and 2 are the Twin Towers. The mall was underneath buildings 4 and 5 in the Austin J. Tobin Plaza, with the main entrance off of Liberty Street, building 4. This picture here is from August 2001, just a few weeks before 9/11. This mall saw a lot of foot traffic. The World Trade Center was home to numerous businesses, a ton of people worked there. The mall connected all of the buildings. It also connected with trains and the subway, which we see in some of the clips. These escalators show up quite a bit. The World Trade Center was also an iconic landmark, popular with tourists. Most of the surviving footage actually comes from people's home movies of their vacations, as we have been seeing. Every one of these videos more or less follow the same format. We are looking around the plaza outside, up at the buildings, between them, then some observation deck views, maybe some shots of the water, and, if you're lucky, some from inside the mall itself. In terms of retailers, pretty much what you'd expect to find in a mall. Most mall staples. There was a Gap, Sephora, Sbarro Pizza, The Body Shop, Sam Goody, which can actually be seen in this picture from a minute ago in the bottom right. Very popular music retailer, a fixture in most malls in America. Physical media, CDs, DVDs, tapes. I found a few clips here that should give a good idea of the state of music and the kind of thing Sam Goody would have been selling in summer 2001. Pop stars and boy bands were huge at this time. Alt-rock and nu metal were also big. I was the demographic for this. 2001 was also the year Sam Goody apparently started selling video games, as per this ad. They were bought by Best Buy, I believe, a year earlier, and I guess this was some of that bleeding through. The mall at the World Trade Center was also home to a Warner Brothers studio store, which were very common in tourist areas, kind of like the Disney store, but for Warner Brothers. It sold all sorts of different merchandise related to Warner properties. This is by far the most recorded store in the mall at the World Trade Center. Again, popular with tourists. They had window displays featuring Looney Tunes characters in different office settings and roles on the phone, at desks. The World Trade Center was obviously a massive corporate hub, and I guess this is their way of paying tribute to this. Switching gears to September 11th, 2001, there was an attack on the World Trade Center. The Twin Towers were destroyed along with the mall. What you are seeing here is another mall, one in Atlanta on September 11th, and the mood here is pretty accurate to what I remember that day being like. People are shaken, they're confused, upset, understandably. The mall is pretty empty, stores are closing early, everything just feels kind of off. The next footage we are going to be cutting to is pretty upsetting as a warning, but offers a fascinating look into the mall in the aftermath of 9/11. This is a Borders bookstore at street level. It's untouched since the attack. We can see all the different books still displayed. Harry Potter has a major presence. It was everywhere around this time. Some of the more iconic images from this footage include the Looney Tunes displays from earlier, the Warner Brothers studio store covered in dust, destroyed. We see stacks of newspapers dated September 11th, which is a lot, other newsstand items, bread from a cafe, candy, definitely unsettling. The mall was integral to many people escaping because it connected all of the buildings together. People who otherwise would not have been able to get out because of falling debris could move underground and get to safety. There are survivor accounts. I encourage anyone interested to read them. I'll post links to everything in the description, but just awful. Absolutely awful. A new World Trade Center was built on the site, and in 2016, a new mall was opened, Westfield World Trade Center. It's in the Oculus building, which has a very interesting design. A lot of high-end retailers here. There's an Apple store, Breitling. It's pretty wild seeing the difference between the two different eras. An entirely different world. Most of the footage that was used in this video is from 2000, 2001. Watching candid footage of people visiting the World Trade Center before 9/11 is a weird intersection of trauma and nostalgia. There is so much documented. You can find clips of people visiting the buildings all the way up to September 10th, 2001. People were fascinated with the World Trade Center even back then. They certainly are now. You can't search 2001 without something related to it showing up, and the effects of what happened are still very much felt today. Personally, I have a ton of nostalgia for that summer, 2001, and revisiting the weeks leading up to 9/11. There is an energy, a sort of calmness, mixed with underlying dread. I know what happened. I know everything that has happened since. I can recognize my childhood in these clips. The end of my childhood, I had just turned 13. The end of summer, in so many ways. There was nothing normal about this. Anyway, that's the show. Let me know what you think. Did you ever visit the World Trade Center or its mall? What did you buy? Where did you shop? Let me know in the comments. Bit of a heavier topic, I know, but if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, share, and again, if you have the means, please consider supporting us on Patreon. A new Liminal Dreams went up this week. Check out our lighter mall content, read The Nostalgia Economy. As always, thank you so much for your interest in this channel, and thanks for watching. See you in the future.